You got Flacco, you got Pickett, you got Gabriel, you got Sanders. I mean, what do you make of this crowded room, Bug?
They got a lot of misfit toys in that room, and I get it. First of all, I love the honesty from Joe Flacco. His job is not to be the role model, the mentor. It's to come in there and be the veteran quarterback and try to bring some stability to that room. As far as the room in general, like Deshaun Watson, 2 Achilles surgeries, Flacco, Kenny Pickett with the 2 gloves, then you got the 2 rookies coming in with Sanders and Gabriel. I don't know what we're going to get from them. I don't think anybody with any sense knows what you're going to get from that room. I suspect at some point it's going to be Flacco or Kenny Pickett trying to figure out who's going to start, and then they're going to figure out with the young guys. I don't think Watson is going to be ready coming off not just 1, but 2 Achilles surgeries. So at some point, Lewis, like if you're really going to be honest about this room, they really don't know what they have in this room right now, and they got to hope that somebody steps forward, whether it's a young guy or one of the veterans that they have.
While the football world was busy dismissing Shedeur Sanders as nothing more than another overhyped coach's kid, something quietly remarkable was unfolding at the Cleveland Browns OTA sessions, something so undeniable that it's left the NFL establishment scrambling to rewrite their narratives. Sanders didn't just show up. He made a statement. Perfect. 13 for 13. Not a single incompletion, not one errant throw. Every pass was executed with purpose, timing, and poise, the kind of precision that coaches dream about but rarely see from a rookie quarterback fresh out of college. And while this performance should have triggered widespread praise, instead, it sparked nervous whispers behind closed doors. Because if Shedeur Sanders is really that good, and it's starting to look like he is, then the league may have to confront the reality that one of the biggest draft steals in recent memory just occurred right under their noses. Consider the atmosphere around him. Joe Flacco, the seasoned veteran, openly admitted to the press that mentoring younger quarterbacks isn't something he's enthusiastic about. If I say I don't want to be a mentor, I look bad. If I say I do, I look like an idiot that doesn't care about playing football. It was an honest quote, sure, but also a brutally revealing one. Flacco is more concerned with preserving his legacy than passing on wisdom. He doesn't want to groom the future, he's clinging to the past. Meanwhile, Kenny Pickett is still out there on the field, sporting 2 gloves like it's a frozen playoff game at Lambeau Field. The 2-glove look isn't a style choice, it's a symptom of insecurity, a crutch for a quarterback unsure of his grip, his ball control, and maybe even his own place in this league. And yet these are supposed to be Shedeur Sanders' competitors. Now, take a step back and picture the Cleveland quarterback room for what it truly is, not a stable environment, but a chaotic battleground of mismatched priorities and conflicting egos. Deshaun Watson is returning from not just 1, but 2 Achilles surgeries, an injury so devastating it has ended or significantly altered the careers of countless NFL athletes. His mobility, a once key feature of his game, may be compromised beyond repair. Joe Flacco, a Super Bowl MVP over a decade ago, is now a journeyman clinging to relevance. Kenny Pickett, traded from Pittsburgh after never quite finding his rhythm, seems more focused on appearances than evolution. And then there's Dillon Gabriel, a quarterback the Browns were willing to invest in while the rest of the league barely gave him a second look. Cleveland believed in him. No one else did. 31 other teams passed on Gabriel repeatedly. That tells you something about how volatile and uncertain the Browns' quarterback evaluation has been behind the scenes. Amidst this storm of uncertainty, ego, and physical limitation, enters Shedeur Sanders, calm, composed, and completely locked in. He didn't arrive with excuses or entitlement. He came with results. That flawless 13 for 13 performance was more than just a good day. It was a seismic warning shot to the rest of the league. Every one of those completions was a surgical display of decision-making, anticipation, and confidence. These weren't safe checkdowns. These were NFL-level reads, delivered with timing and accuracy that had coaches on the sideline shaking their heads, not in disappointment, but in disbelief. And yet, despite this breakout showing, the larger narrative around Sanders remains tainted by bias. The league doesn't want to believe that a coach's kid from Colorado, someone they didn't even consider a top pick, might be the most NFL-ready quarterback of the entire 2025 draft class. The skeptics remain glued to their lazy narratives. He's a product of privilege, they say. He's only here because of his last name. But what they don't see, or refuse to acknowledge, is the tireless preparation, the football IQ, the mental toughness that Shedeur Sanders brings to every single rep. This isn't someone riding coattails. This is someone carving his own path, one throw at a time. Let's go even deeper. Shedeur Sanders didn't come from a gimmicky college offense built on screen passes and inflated stats. He ran a pro-style offense at Colorado, a system that required him to make pre-snap reads, go through progressions, and shoulder the burden of elevating an entire team. And he did it under intense scrutiny, every move dissected, every mistake magnified. Yet, he still thrived. That level of preparation and experience translates directly to the NFL, where the mental gap between college and the pros often proves too wide for rookies to cross. Sanders isn't just crossing it, he's sprinting across it, leaving doubts in the dust. And now, Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski is standing in the eye of this storm, juggling impossible expectations. He's got ownership breathing down his neck about Deshaun Watson's colossal contract. He's being pushed by media to give Joe Flacco the respect due to a seasoned veteran. He's managing Kenny Pickett's fragile confidence after a trade that never should have happened. And now he's got a sixth-round rookie who just made all three of them look ordinary, or worse, outdated. Stefanski told reporters they're mixing it up every single day and trying to get guys exposure to different concepts. That might sound like coach speak, but read between the lines, it's a signal of desperation. They don't know who the starter is yet because they didn't expect this rookie to walk in and blow the doors off the facility. And now they're scrambling to make sense of it. Now let's talk about what that 13 for 13 performance really means, because on the surface, it's easy to say it's just practice. But NFL practices, especially organized team activities, are far from casual. These are scripted sessions against professional-level defenders, designed to test decision-making, timing, chemistry, and mental discipline. Rookies don't just walk in and ace them, especially not at the quarterback position, where every misread, every late throw, every bad habit gets exposed. Yet Shedeur Sanders showed up and delivered a masterclass, not by chance, but because he's built for this. He's been preparing for this moment long before he ever declared for the draft. And that's the difference. That's what separates Sanders from the rest of this overcrowded quarterback room in Cleveland. He doesn't just want the job, he's already performing like it's his. Most rookies spend their first few months adjusting to the speed of the NFL game, digesting complex playbooks, trying not to drown in the weight of expectations. But Sanders, he's already playing like a veteran. His footwork is clean, his throws are decisive, and his command of the offense is earning the respect of coaches and teammates alike. That's not just impressive, it's rare. NFL insiders are beginning to take notice. Whispers are starting to circulate in scouting rooms and media circles, whispers that sound a lot like the early days of Russell Wilson's rise in Seattle. Back in 2012, Wilson was a third-round pick who wasn't supposed to start. He walked into a Seahawks locker room with Matt Flynn and Tarvaris Jackson already penciled in as the top options. But it didn't take long before Wilson made it clear he was the best quarterback on the roster, and the franchise had no choice but to hand him the keys. The same dynamic is quietly taking shape in Cleveland, and it's making a lot of people nervous. You see, when a sixth-round rookie starts out playing veterans in practice, it disrupts the entire hierarchy of a team. Contracts suddenly look bloated, trades appear misguided, and decisions made in draft war rooms get second-guessed. That's exactly what's happening in Cleveland right now. The Browns didn't draft Shedeur Sanders to be the guy. They drafted him as a developmental prospect, a depth piece. But that plan's already out the window. He's not waiting for his chance. He's taking it. And that's the kind of hunger that transforms locker rooms. Sanders is pushing everyone, receivers, linemen, even defenders, to be sharper. Practices are crisper, routes are cleaner. There's a new energy in the air because players know that when Sanders is under center, every rep matters. That's the effect a real leader has. He doesn't need to say much. His work ethic, consistency, and performance do the talking. And right now, Sanders is saying plenty with every throw he makes. Let's not ignore what's happening around him either. Joe Flacco may be a veteran, but he's showing signs that the game has passed him by. His comments to the media, laced with sarcasm and detachment, are the words of a man who knows his grip on the game is slipping. He doesn't want a mentor because mentoring means accepting that your time is nearly up. Then there's Kenny Pickett, a player still trying to justify his first-round draft status. Yet he continues to look hesitant, reliant on double gloves and short passes, never quite inspiring confidence. Dillon Gabriel, while talented, is clearly a developmental project. So the question becomes, if Shedeur Sanders is outperforming all of them in practices that are supposed to simulate real game speed, how much longer can the Browns keep pretending there's a competition? Here's where Kevin Stefanski finds himself walking a tightrope. He wants to be fair. He wants to create a merit-based system where reps are earned, not given. But that's easier said than done when the team has invested tens of millions in Watson, traded for Pickett, and brought in Flacco to be a stabilizing voice. The moment he gives Sanders legitimate first-team reps in preseason games and the rookie continues to shine, the media pressure will explode. Every throw will be dissected. Every drive will become a referendum on the Browns' quarterback future. And the longer Stefanski waits to acknowledge the obvious, the more it looks like politics are winning over performance. But here's the thing, Stefanski may not have a choice. He's coaching for his job this season. Ownership isn't patient, fans aren't forgiving, and if there's even a hint that Sanders gives the Browns the best chance to win, the leash on veterans like Flacco and Pickett will shorten fast. What happens when the 6th-round rookie starts throwing touchdowns in the preseason while the veterans struggle with checkdowns and fumbles? What happens when the players themselves start believing more in the rookie than the guys ahead of him? That's not just a quarterback controversy, that's a culture shift, and it's already underway in Cleveland. Because what Sanders brings isn't just talent, it's accountability, it's discipline, it's a championship mindset that elevates everyone in the building. He's not lobbying for playing time, he's earning it, one perfect practice at a time. And the more he performs, the harder it becomes to justify keeping him on the sideline. It's not just Shedeur's stats that have people inside the Browns organization buzzing, it's his entire approach. Players and staff alike are starting to realize they're not just witnessing a talented young quarterback learning the ropes, they're watching a culture shift take root. Every team goes into OTAs hoping for growth. Most hope their rookies flash some potential, absorb the playbook, maybe show they won't be liabilities in the preseason. But what's unfolding in Berea, Ohio is something different. Shedeur isn't just fitting in, he's quietly taking over. The coaching staff led by Kevin Stefanski has been cautious about naming roles or even hinting at depth chart positioning. But behind closed doors, there's no hiding it. When the second-team offense steps on the field with Shedeur under center, the energy is electric. Receivers sharpen their routes. Running backs pick up blitzes with more urgency. Even linemen, often the most stoic group on the field, find themselves responding to his cadence with more explosiveness off the snap. That kind of command doesn't come from talent alone, it comes from presence, and Shedeur Sanders has it. Veterans on the team have started to take notice too. Amari Cooper, one of the most cerebral receivers in the league, reportedly pulled Shedeur aside after one session and spent over an hour breaking down film with him. Not because he was told to, but because he wanted to. There's a mutual respect growing between the rook and the vets, something not every young quarterback earns this quickly. It's not just the veterans being mentors, it's the team recognizing that Shedeur's success might be their success too. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room, Deshaun Watson. The Browns' $230 million man is still technically the franchise quarterback, and by contract will be for the foreseeable future. But while Shedeur isn't openly challenging for the job, the whispers are growing louder. What happens if Watson falters early in the season? What happens if the Browns, one of the NFL's most tortured franchises, find themselves with a generational talent developing right under their nose, one who costs a fraction of the salary cap, and who galvanizes the team in a way few ever have? There are no answers yet. But the Browns are facing a scenario more complicated than they ever anticipated when they made Watson the highest-paid quarterback in the league, because Shedeur isn't just some feel-good story. He's not a late-round flyer or a gadget player. He's a legitimate NFL quarterback prospect with elite-level poise, a quick release, and a football IQ that's making even skeptical scouts revise their grades. And now, with every perfect OTA rep, he's raising the stakes. More than anything, though, what's standing out to insiders is Shedeur's resilience. For every compliment, he absorbs criticism. For every great throw, he's first to point out what he could have done better. After practices, he doesn't rush out of the facility. He stays behind to review footage, ask questions, and refine timing with receivers. That obsessive drive, that's what separates the good from the great. It's what Tom Brady had, what Drew Brees had, what Patrick Mahomes still has. The Browns, who have long been haunted by quarterback instability, may finally have a different kind of problem. Not a lack of talent, not a carousel of backups, but an abundance. And it's forcing a lot of people inside the organization to reevaluate not just this season's strategy, but the future of the franchise. The mood in Cleveland is shifting. The future that once looked locked in now looks uncertain. And at the heart of that uncertainty is a 22-year-old rookie who wasn't supposed to be here. Not like this, not this fast, and certainly not this sharp. Outside Berea, fans are just beginning to hear the rumblings, but inside, the message is clear. The Browns have a quarterback battle on their hands, and Shedeur Sanders isn't backing down. Not because he's cocky, not because he has something to prove to his father, or to the media, or to the doubters, but because this is who he is. It's always been who he is. From Trinity Christian High to Jackson State to Colorado, he's had to earn everything. And now in the NFL, he's doing it again, one perfect pass at a time. There's a certain irony to all of this. For months, years even, critics labeled Shedeur Sanders as the product of hype, a social media phenomenon built by the magnetic force of his father, Deion Primetime Sanders. The headlines were easy to write. Coach's kid gets special treatment, overrated because of the name. But what those critics never understood is that having the Sanders name didn't open doors. It added weight to every step. Shedeur hasn't just played under pressure. He's been raised in it. Every game he's played, every throw he's made has come with a microscope above and a spotlight glaring. Most quarterbacks crack under that level of attention. They flinch, they falter, but Shedeur, he sharpened. Every snide comment about being pampered only made him grind harder. Every eye roll about neon lights and sunglasses only made him study deeper. And now, in a Cleveland facility full of hardened pros and skeptical eyes, he's turning that pressure into purpose. The Browns aren't strangers to quarterback drama. They've cycled through a laundry list of names: Tim Couch, Brady Quinn, Johnny Manziel, Baker Mayfield, each touted as the next savior, each ultimately falling short. But Shedeur doesn't fit the mold of those failed experiments. He's not reckless like Manziel, not erratic like Quinn, and certainly not fragile like Couch. He's composed, focused, and most importantly, he's not listening to the noise. The whispers around the league are turning into discussions in front offices. Scouts from other teams are calling Cleveland's staff, asking quiet questions. How's the kid really looking? Is he as sharp as the beat writers say? Is this just OTA buzz or is it real? And the answer increasingly is undeniable. It's real. No amount of PR spin can manufacture the way teammates gravitate toward a quarterback. No orchestrated hype can fake the crispness of timing routes, or the way defensive backs mutter in frustration after being burned by another laser between the seams. And the media? They're catching up. Slowly, yes. Cautiously, of course. But major sports outlets are starting to adjust their narrative. They're no longer talking about Shedeur as just Denion's son. They're talking about his ability to read coverages like a veteran, about how he anticipates pressure, shifts protections, manipulates safeties with his eyes. They're talking about how the Browns might have stumbled into a quarterback succession plan they didn't even realize they needed, because the rookie they drafted to develop might be developing a little too fast. Inside the Sanders family, this isn't surprising. Denion has said repeatedly that Shedeur is built different. But it's not just proud dad talk anymore. The NFL is seeing it. Coaches, coordinators, and former players are seeing it. And if you're Deshaun Watson, you're definitely feeling it. Because while no one inside the Browns facility will say it out loud, not yet, there's a quiet countdown ticking. It's not about when Shedeur will get his chance. It's about when it becomes impossible to deny him. What happens next will depend on the preseason. If Shedeur continues this trajectory into the exhibition games, if he strings together strong drives, protects the football, shows leadership and poise against live bullets, then the pressure on the Browns coaching staff will become unrelenting. Fan bases are smarter than they used to be. They know when a guy has it. And if Shedeur flashes it under the stadium lights, no amount of contractual loyalty to Watson will silence the calls. But here's the twist. Shedeur doesn't need the spotlight to win. He's not chasing headlines. He's chasing legacy. He said it himself. He wants to be the best. Not just good, not just efficient, the best. And if his performance in OTAs is any indication, he's not just saying the right things, he's living them. The drills, the film sessions, the leadership in huddles, the quiet accountability in walkthroughs, it's all there. NFL legacies aren't built in May or June. They're forged in the fall, under pressure, when everything's on the line. But they start somewhere. And for Shedeur Sanders, it's becoming increasingly clear that his NFL story didn't start with the draft. It didn't even start with his arrival in Cleveland. It started with every challenge he's faced, every doubt he's silenced, every time he picked up a football and dared to be great. From his early days at Jackson State, to his meteoric rise at Colorado, to this very moment in Browns camp, Shedeur has been building something. Now the league is watching, and for the first time, they're not seeing Deion's son. They're seeing a quarterback, a leader, a force, someone who could change the direction of an entire franchise, not with flashy words or media soundbites, but with precision, discipline, and relentless drive. The NFL didn't expect this, and now, it might not be ready for what's coming.